Hey. Yes. Good boy. Hey. Good boy. Yes.
I stayed down, stacked bread up. Took obedience, leveled up. Sat still, let the Lord talk. Yeah. Then I moved when the word struck. I listened close, kept my nose down. No leash on me, but I know now. If the path clear, I go there. If the door closed, I don't slow down. Oh, attack the game with a full grip. Yeah, hands locked in, I don't loosen. Breath of pressure I was built for. See the frame, see the blueprint. Check my pedigree. Ain't no cheap in me.
I would say all over the place.
They were all fresh. They were still, bro, they did not stop crossing, and I know this for a fact. They did not stop crossing the presser until 2010, and I've already said that on record, and I know that for a fact. I mean, they still crossing it. They're still crossing it now. Yeah, they're still, honestly, yeah, they are. But Bill Fifield told me that he had to stop. He said he stopped breeding those solid brindle American bulldogs because they were buying them to bring over there to make the presses heads bigger. Because the Mahoero, it doesn't have the head of that dog.
The head to body reference is it's like, man, this thing needs a head on it to proportion it out.
And because the DNA is so strong, it was just like no matter what you bred to it, it's almost like it was sucking the life out of. Because I said, no one can really argue it because we can just pull up pictures from Curto's book, and those crosses are exactly what we're describing right now.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have the one Curto. I got that one there.
I got it. I'll send it.
Curto.
The other book. There's another one.
Yeah, the other one I don't have.
I'll send that to you. I got it on PDF. I can send it to you.
Oh, cool.
But in that book, you'll see those dogs. They look like golden retriever.
Yeah.
And then there were pictures of Mahoeros that were like literally like they looked like they were like this fucking big. And those were like some of the first two crosses that Curto did. And then when you go back and you even look at some of the presses prior to that, some of those dogs were really big and some of those dogs were really small. And we're talking like 65 pounds to like 120 pound range. And then when they reconstruct it with all that neo blood, like the dog, what's the one black dog? I keep wanting to say. Yeah, it was one of the first crosses. He was a dog that they used in the pit a lot. They talked. I want to say Nero. I could pull this up, but then I'd have to close this file. I've got all that stuff on my phone. It's in the present presentation, people. If you want to know the dog I'm talking about, he's in there. But he was a big black dog, and
I remember.
but very Neapolitan Mastiff-ish. You know what I mean? Like no doubt about it. And Curto even said in the other book, like that some of these dogs were so like. After the cross, when the puppies came, you could even see like if they were Great Dane, if they were Neapolitan, if they were this, that you could even still see the influence regardless, because of particular dogs that they were using. But yeah, they were definitely doing all type of crosses after that standard had been set, and they were still sending those dogs over here, and people were still using them. And most of us didn't know that. Most of us, we didn't know that at all. I mean, you had kennels back then who had great imports, and now you go and look at their dogs now, and you would be like, man, they must have crossed those dogs with something over time.
Yeah. No, when I got into it, so when I guess the FCI standard had just been kind of done around 01. And wouldn't allow black dogs because it specifically said because of fear of Dane influence. They didn't say Corso. They said, it was too Dane influenced. If it had a solid, and obviously that went back at some point or in the past few years where the 89 standards accepted and black is back and it's okay now and whatever. But yeah. No, it definitely said that about the Great Dane standard. or too influenced by Great Dane.
That was their one of their least favorite crosses, they said. Was
Great Dane?
The Dane. But
Yeah.
some of those Ardeen had some of those Dane crosses that made it over here early on. Some of the first presses that were crossed over here that came from there were that had some of that Dane blood in them. Most of those dogs were like I said, Neo, Bordeaux. The common one that you were seeing were Bull Terrier, Neo, Bordeaux, Amstaff, because the pit bull is not allowed over there under that name. So Amstaff. They did some Doberman crosses, but they didn't, they didn't do much with those.
Right.
And then Fila, because it's funny how the Fila and the
Fila Brasileiro or Fila Soyman?
The Fila Brasileiro. That dog standard is they're very similar.
They actually are. For a bloodhound looking dog, it is a pretty similar standard to it. And
I know that
some presses, and you could stick a Fila beside it.
I had to go to my page. My Champa's brother Beerus looked like a Fila. My brother was like, "Bro, you got a presser and a Fila?" I'm like, "Nah, bro. They're brothers, bro." He's like, "Man, that dog looks like 100% Fila because he had that long hound-like head and muzzle. His brother didn't look anything like that, but." The Fila was, like the Dogo Argentino, they used over 22 breeds in various orders. I think I remember when I first read that, because they said that in the book that you got over there. When I first read that, I took it the wrong way. I didn't know how that was being described. Because I'm thinking so they took all these dogs and put them all into one, but that's not what was happening. There were 20 plus breeds that were being circulated, but he might have used 5, he used 3, he only used 1, he used 10. Right. He used all of them. He used as many as he could. That's what was happening. So but I didn't know that at the time, as I would get deeper into the dog, because I was infatuated with this dog, bro. Because I was like, if I can't make a dog, if I can't get a dog that looks like Arbaco, I'm gonna make this motherfucker somehow. I'm gonna make it. I like that, just the description of the dog, and it was a game dog. So just the description, and it wasn't. I love American Pit Bull Terriers, but I like dogs that got a little bit more size, which is why the Pressa and the Dogo were perfect. We're talking about 90 to 105 pound dog. That was the original standard. Well, one of the standards. Let me not say that was an original standard. That was a standard that was written for a Pressa. It was presented. It was never used. The standard, because obviously the standards they put out in '89 said it was 90 to 115 pounds. But if you go and look in that old,
something like that, or 125. Yeah.
You go look in that old Dog World Dog World, the old dog encyclopedia that first presented the Pressa, and the standard presented there was 90 to 105 pounds max. Now, I've seen that standard also be talked about in Carl Semincy's book. Because remember, he was the first person from here to go over there and see the dogs. And so that's what they told him. And he went to Curto. And so that was the standard that he wrote, was the 90 to 105 pound standard in his first documentation of the Pressa Canario. That's what he wrote. And so to me, I was like, man, that's perfect. 100 pound dog. That's a good size. He's short, 23 to 25 inches max. Okay, great. And then the dog had a dip in the back. It had this raised back. So to me, I'm like, man, this is crazy. I didn't know anything about the Fila standard at the time.
I was getting ready to say, which is very similar to the Fila's back.
I knew all about the Fila. I was familiar with the Fila. From home. I know about the Fila, but I didn't know the standard. I didn't know anything about it. And then as I got into the Fila, I started looking at Filas. I'm like, man, these standards are damn near the same almost. This dog's a little bit, I don't know any breeds of dogs that have the length that a Presa and a Fila have. First off, those dogs are
Right.
long. They're long.
Right.
Their
Right.
personalities are very similar. I think Filas are way more temperamental than Presas, in my opinion. But they call it the camel walk for the Fila, and then the cat walk for the Presa. But it's like the same thing. You know what I mean? Like they're very similar.
It's real similar. Talking about, and I still have a couple dogs like this, but talking about like that first Pressa I had, I remember that dog could walk up on you and you'd never hear it.
You wouldn't even hear him. Bro,
It still had those big paws with thick pads on it. You don't see that anymore. I mean, it's like lion paws or something.
They were really cat-footed. They
were
really, really cat-footed. Like, man, I got a video on my page, man. It's way down at the bottom of the two brothers out in the yard. And if you didn't know what a dog was, you would have thought that I had two tiger stripe, some type of wild jungle cats roaming through my yard because they've got that walk, and then the tails were up. That's what cats do. Put their tails up like that and walk around with them. And I got a video of both of those dogs doing that. And then they meet up, bro. It almost makes a heart. Because when they came together, they came together like that, and their tails were both up, and it made a heart. But man, I remember my neighbor, before I put my before I put the shades up on my front porch, and I had the lights on in the living room and through the curtains. He said, man, he came and knocked on the door. He said, bro, it looks like you got two big ass panthers creeping around in your fucking house over there, bro. He's like, the way those things move is just so majestic, bro. He's like, it really looks like two big cats over there doing their things. Like, man, I
got that little sway when they walk, like in their back, and just like leopards walking.
Well, that was an argument with some people. The press is supposed to have a straight back. I said, bro, there has not been one standard written for the Pressa, whether they presented it or not, that ever said anything about a Pressa Canario with a straight back.
Because the higher, little bit higher rear is what gives it the catwalk.
Yeah, if you take that's apart outside of the Majoero, because I tell people all the time, I'm like, the shit that you like about the Pressa Canario, it comes from the Bardino Majoero.
Even though it's about a schizophrenic dog almost, not every one of them. Not every one of them, but yeah, a lot of them are like schizo aggressive almost.
Yeah, and I tell people, and it's. I remember when I first talked to Ross Poole, bro. The first thing he told me was, he said, "Have you had one before?" And then when I told him I did, he asked me about it, and he's like, "Man, I'm not sure that was a real one." And I said, "Well, let me know, bro. I don't know." You know what I mean? And so he said, "Man, I got some dogs here, man, that you if you let this dog take over, somebody's gonna die."
Right.
He said, "Man, you can't." He told me off time. He said, "You're gonna have to knock him in the head." He said, "I don't care what anybody feels about it, what they got to say about it." I said, "Because if this dog was attacking them, they're not gonna ask it politely to stop."
No.
And so they said these dogs are. He told me. He said this dog has as far as dog IQs go, this dog has one of the highest IQs. It's very calculating. They will wait on you. They will learn your routine, and they will pick you off. And they're extremely strong, and they're relentless, and they're stubborn. He said, He said, this dog, it's almost like dealing with a kid that has, that's kind of autistic, he said.
Yes.
He said, they know what they're doing, and you give them the excuse because they are autistic. But autistic kids aren't dumb. They are very capable. There are levels to it. There are definitely levels to autism. But he's like, that's what it's like. He said, this dog, he said, and they will bite you. This is what he said, they will bite you. He said, as the owner, he said, they don't, he said, the older you get, he said, it's like they grow with you. It's like how your grandmother or your grandfather gets older and they start putting up with less shit because
Yeah.
as you get older, they feel like you should be growing up. So why are you still doing that stupid shit? He's
Right.
like, princesses are the same way. He said, so shit that your kid was doing to the dog. He said, I'm not telling you that the dog can't be in the house. He's not telling you that the dog can't be around kids. He said, I wouldn't leave it around kids unsupervised. He said, but I wouldn't leave any dog around my kids unsupervised. He said, but what I'm telling you is what a kid can do at 6 or 7, he can't do at 14.
Mm-hmm.
Because the dog, if the dog is like, bro, you are not 8 or 9. You're not 7, 8, or 9 anymore. Why are you still doing that to me? You're of age now where I know that you know better. And if you do that shit again, I'm gonna bite the shit out of you.
Play too much.
Exactly. Because now tell me if I'm lying. Tell me if I'm lying, bro. Those presses back then were not in your face dogs. They were not clingy. They were not, I'm not saying they weren't watching. I'm not saying they weren't guarding. I'm not saying they weren't paying attention, people. What I'm saying was, like, pit bulls are clingy dogs. They like to be around you. They like to be in your face. They follow you around the house wherever you go. Like,
I would say those presses, and it was probably because they were a utility dog on a farm. They were a bit more independent. They didn't need they liked being with you. They enjoyed that.
But they also wanted.
They were like they'd go to a bedroom. Like you could be in there in the living room watching TV, and they'd get up and leave the room. They might huff at you.
Right.
And go to the bedroom. Like, man, turn this crap off, man. I ain't trying to hear it. And they would leave the room and just go to the bedroom. And they could go be in the bedroom. Like dogs I've had in the past. I would. Not that I did. I mean, I've had some long time away from them, leaving them at home by themselves. You're out on a road doing something, and then the day goes sideways, and you get home the following day or whatever. Man, they were fine. They hadn't. Now I can't. Not all my dogs. Some of them would have torn a house up, but they would have done it within the first couple minutes of leaving them. But no, they you leave and they're cool. Like they being on their own, they're cool. They're not clingy like that. And come back a day later, they were intelligent enough not to drink water and eat food and stuff because they know they're going to have to go to the bathroom, right? And I come home and they're pretty much right where they were when I left them, or they would be in the bedroom sleeping.
And see that's what I remember. I don't remember, like, man, the last few presses I had, man, like I couldn't go to the bathroom. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't go anywhere for the most part.
I got two like that now.
And obviously every dog is different, just like every person is different, every child is different. But overall, on average, like before, the more recent dogs that I had, like it's like you said, like we could be chilling and that dog would just get up and be gone for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Where the fuck he's at or what he's doing. He wasn't messing up anything. He was just gone. You know what I mean? Like he'd go this. Man, I had a presser one time, man. He'd tell on you to the girl I was dating at the time because she loved him. She loved him. And so I remember my homeboy, he came to stay with us. And so he'd sleep out on the couch in my living room. And so generally the dog would sleep in 3 spots. So, and it was crazy because this is how meticulous they are. And then they would do this in order every single night. Every single night, the same thing, like clockwork. He would, for in the beginning, he wasn't even, I don't even like my dogs on the furniture. I don't mind the dog being in the house.
I don't play that, man.
Yeah, I don't mind.
They ain't getting in my furniture. They ain't getting in my bed.
Yeah, no bed, no furniture. You got your own dog bed, your own, you know what I mean? You can be in the
Sorry.
house, that's fine, but I don't want you, you know what I mean? I don't do that.
I
But
don't need.
somehow, like, this dog managed to slide his way up on the couch, right? I had this sectional. But he knew he wasn't supposed to be up there. Now,
Mhm.
he had been doing it for I don't know how long. I ended up catching him one night.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I ended up catching him, and he tried to get off the couch real fast. Like, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh no, I caught you.
Yep. Yep.
but I didn't say anything. I let it slide. And so because I didn't say anything, he kept doing it.
Right.
And so this is what he would do. He would get up on the couch. And so in between, so like I said, it was a sectional, right? So it's like this. And then in the
Yeah.
middle here, I had a cobra cage in the middle, right in the living room, right where the TV was. I had a big cobra cage in the middle on a stand. And so he would go from sleeping on the couch to in between the couch and the cage on the rug. And then he would go on the other side of the rug. And then he would go back in the middle. And then he would get back on the couch. And he would do that every
Mhm.
night, just like that in order every night. So my homeboy, it's like he's got to stay with us for a few nights. And so this dude's like 6 foot something. He's got to sleep on the couch. Oh man. That dog he was not thrilled about that man sleeping on this couch at all. I mean,
Right.
he was so offended that he went in the room and got his mama.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like he went in the room, like we're sitting there talking, smoking a blunt, watching TV, and Ursus, he comes out, sees him on the couch, looks at me. I don't say anything. So he's like, oh, okay, all right. I'll go get boss then. Goes
Uh-huh.
back in the room. And basically he used to like talk, like use his head, like tell you to come on, like pulls her out of bed,
Yep.
pulls her out of bed, brings her to him, and is like, why is this motherfucker sleeping in my spot?
For sure.
And so she's like, oh, it's okay, you can sleep in the room tonight. And so he used to go to the trash. Like, listen, I never, with some dogs in the house, where the trash can, like, they just can't stay out of the trash, and
Right.
and you can't blame them. There's food in there. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's impossible. It's unless you train them and they're really like, okay, I know I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble if I get in here, or they just like, they know better. I never trained this dog not to go in the trash. Ever, because when I got this particular dog, he was gifted to me for free. He was 4 years old. He was a Lone Creek dog. He was from,
Really?
yeah, Let Alone Creek. Let Alone Creek is where he came from.
Yeah, I don't think I remember hearing their name. Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, I don't even know if they're around anymore. His dog's like 160, bro. He was huge. He was huge. And he wouldn't go in the trash can. He would ask, like, if we would throw stuff in there, bones or whatever, he would come get you, bring you to the trash can, and point in the trash can. Can he have the bones or whatever you threw away in there? Only dog I've ever had do that. And most people I know that have dogs that do shit like that is because they train them.
Right.
This dog, this dog ended up dying of bone. He had bone cancer. We didn't know that when they sent him to us. Yeah, it was shitty. I found it out. Listen, this was a big dog, man, and I used to walk him out in Maryland, and he was huge. Everybody would just stop, pull over, like, bro, what kind of bull mastiff is that, or what kind of, that's the biggest pit bull I ever seen in my life. They're in their car looking. I'm like, bro, it's not a pit bull, like, da, da, da. But
yeah.
I remember one day, this is how I found out. I took him for a walk. And this is how smart they are. He just stopped walking, bro. Like he wouldn't go any further. He just stopped. And I'm like, bro, what's going on? And I had noticed he had a little limp, and I thought maybe he had a spring or something like that. And so I'm like, no, let's go, bro. We're not even halfway through the walk. But this dog weighed more than me. And he's like, bro, I'm not moving unless we're going back to the house. So I was like, all right. So I turned around and we walked back to the house. And I'm like trying to like wondering like, what's going on. And so I didn't pay much attention to it. And then it happened again. And so I'm like, let me take this dog in. And come to find out, he had leukemia, basically. And they didn't know it either. The people, she gave it to me, her husband died. She was dying from cancer, the woman who brought me the dog. And so, actually she's just like, no, I heard, you're the best person to bring this dog to. And, they recommended, I asked, who can I take this dog to? And they're like, your name came up. So that's how I ended up with the dog. Beautiful dog, though, man. I think I got pictures of him on my page. But another thing, and I don't know if you have other animals on your property, but this dog, well, squirrels and rabbits were fair game. But I take him out to the park and there'd be geese out there, 20, 30 geese, bro. He would walk through the geese, bro. They didn't even run from him. They didn't even run from him. They didn't even try to get away. And he never once tried to chase any of those geese. Never, not one time. I remember, like, I was walking him, same area, and this lady had this beautiful red nose pit bull, man. I mean, this dog was beautiful. And man, that dog, if that dog had got out, I mean, he was going nuts. You know how pit bulls can be when they see another dog. Especially, I mean, you could tell this was a real game dog. Whether she, I don't know what the hell she was doing with this dog, but you could tell, like, whatever.
It was bad.
And he ain't getting enough exercise to be that game of a dog. Like, this dog was ready to fuck something up.
Scratch.
Man, this dog, I'm walking this dog, and this dog is in the window talking shit. And I'm like, please don't break this window. And this dog is just, my press is just looking at it. He's just looking at the dog. He's not even paying it any mind. Looks at it, hears it, just keeps walking, bro. Like, he was one of the chillest presses that I ever had. But they all kind of were similar up until that point. But everything I had after that, bro, I was not happy with. Except for, like I said, Champa was okay, but still, where he was clingy as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I have some, I have the dogs. Every dog has its own personality, its own features, whatnot that I like about it. Sometimes I wonder too if, how am I trying to say? Sometimes when you look into the past, I mean, it can't be but so much mistake of what we're remembering. But then there's a level too where you romanticize the past. After enough time has gone by, you forget kind of the bad of something. Like people could despise their dad their whole life, right? And their dad passes away. 20 years later, they probably, a lot of times they've forgotten a lot of the bad. And it's like, man, that was my dad. And, I remember he would take me to Little, So sometimes I wonder if we sometimes like that being, it was kind of our first one, the first press, our first dog in general that we had. So we think about that. Like that Rottweiler I was telling you about that I got when I was an early teenager. That was my dog. That wasn't the family dog, whatever. No, that was my personal dog that I took on. That dog was great. I can't say enough good about that dog. But at the same time, his recall was crap, and I hated it.
I had a presser like that, bro. Man, that is the most embarrassing and heartbreaking. Like a dog that doesn't, and it doesn't matter.
And he would just like beeline for the other way, make you look even stupider.
and you know what? And it doesn't matter. You could have 100 dogs on your yard, and they all listen to you. But that one dog, it makes you feel like, because it's almost like you're only as good as your weakest dog, almost.
That's
like,
right.
You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
Like, and no, because I had a presser like that, but she act like a pit bull. She act like every game bred pit bull that I had. She couldn't be around any dogs that weren't living here. And even the other female I had here, like they didn't really get along that much. But
that's like that press I was telling you about. Any dog that was not part of that household that they knew could not be around.
That's how she was. Now, if I walk her off of this yard, oh man, it's a different story. But if I let I used to this is how I found it out. Like she was always kind of mouthy, but she never barked, if that made sense. She was like trying to tell you what to do. Like and I trained her a little bit differently because I could tell she was a little sassy bitch. You know what I mean? So I trained her in a tub, like a storage tub, so that she could have jumped out of that tub at any time. It was open air. There was no top on the tub. Nothing. She could have got out any time, but I trained her. You better not get your ass out of that tub. You can sit with us. You can watch TV. You can do whatever you want in that tub. The only time you get out of that tub is when I tell you it's time to go outside or when it's time to eat or when you get your playtime. Otherwise, you're going to be in that tub for the first 2 months that you're here. That you're going to learn your boundaries that way. You know what I mean?
So it's like an open air crate.
Yeah, basically. You're going to learn she could have hopped out anytime she wanted. But, so this is how I figured out that with people, man, I let her out one time in the front yard, and I live right across the street from the park and the hospital. Not the worst place to have a dog like this.
Right?
Man, you let her out to pee, because the whole time she pissing, she's
right.
He's going to first. Man, this dog, as soon as she get done pissing, she look at you, and you know how they do that little dumbass trot that they do.
Yeah. Nothing to see here.
Right on across the street, right out into traffic. If there was a car, luckily I live in a tiny town. Because if I lived in if I was in D.C. or somewhere like that, she'd have been ran over. I'd have had a lawsuit or something. And said, that's what I think about. You know what I mean? Like that, somebody hit your dog or swerve trying not to hit your dog. That's you. So,
that's on you.
Man, I let her out and she just would take off to the park. She wouldn't even know who to go through first because it'd be 10 people out there. So she got to try to touch every single one of them. But the other problem with her was she liked to play bite. And, even a presser's play bite can do some damage.
Yeah.
So, that dog, man, I mean, she was presser, but man, I thought she was a pit bull. I had to get her DNA tested because I thought she acted like a pit bull, and she was only 67 pounds. She was
67.
Yeah, she was small.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But fire. You know what I mean? But just like an American pit bull terrier, just go with whoever she saw. And I distinctly remember having, because I had quite the assortment of American pit bull terriers, of all ages, and they didn't care who they lived with.
Right.
You know what I mean? They didn't care. And because some dogs, you get them and you take them away, or not necessarily take them, but if you rescue a dog from somewhere like a home and not like a pound, some of those dogs, man, sometimes those dogs don't ever connect with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes they do. And but what I've noticed with pit bulls, they don't really seem to care. Those bull and terrier crosses, they don't really seem to care who they go with.
That's I guess too, selective breeding, because they were kind of with the early dogs, they weren't supposed to be man biters or human aggressive or anything like that. Well, that's right. Generalization. Exactly. So I guess through that many decades of inbreeding dogs,
they're
lock that trait in.
Right, because that's when people are like, "Oh, it's a pit bull. It attacked me." I'm like, "You sure it was a pit bull? Probably not." I'm not saying that a pit bull, they don't anything with teeth bites, but
that's right.
Sure that was a pit bull, because that's not that's not really a pit. Now, if you had a set of presser, I'd have been like, "Yeah, it probably was. He bit you? Yeah, it might have been." But
might have been.
Bull, I don't know. Now, attack a dog, maybe.
Yeah. So back up a little bit. We were talking about that gameness, and now we're talking about the pit bulls and whatnot. I think a lot of people mistake dog aggression, and prey drive with gameness.
I can see that, and that's definitely. I haven't discussed that, but I know some people that haven't. I could see that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Dog aggression don't mean the dog is game.
Well, you know, aggression, and you know, obviously, if you're dealing with a game dog, and when we say game, you know, game could be, you know, game. Because I think a lot of people, when you say game, they only think of pit bull terriers, and I'm like, well, game is whatever you're hunting. It could be duck, it could be this, it could be that. That, you know, so a game dog in itself, it's like, man, what's the best way to put it? It's like, I think,
Well, I think that gameness. Okay, you're talking about like dogs that go out for game. Okay, to me that's not gameness. So
right. It's game. You're game hunting, right?
you're
That's
game
right.
hunting, but that's not game.
Right?
Yeah,
Because the dog may not, and that's the thing. Like, that's how I was trying to reword what I'm saying. Like, you're taking it's a classification almost. Like, these are game dogs because they hunt big game, but some of them only track the game. That's
there
still
you go.
game. You know, that's still
I'm
a game.
I'm not
dog.
calling a black and
right.
tan coonhound a game
Right.
dog.
Right. It is it does, you know, I think you can almost categorize it like a game style or a game, you know, I think we could probably put a few labels on that, but yeah, but when you say game, like when I honestly think of game, I think of whatever the animal is being caught by the other animal physically, not the dog leading me to the animal and then I do the job.
Yeah,
You know, that's not game. You know,
and to me, engaging doesn't make it game either.
Right, we're tracking game. Right, we're tracking our game. I did that. You know, we're tracking or we're hunting it, but I did the actual work. So you're not a game dog. You are a game tracking dog. A game dog, he went and hit that hog, or he actually went and caught that quail or that whatever it was, that fox or that coyote, and he brought it back to me.
Well, you know, it's like to me, for me, just my opinion, gameness is okay. Gameness is obviously like, for me, toughness. So you have a man who's like, oh man, I've won every fight I've been in. It won't even a match, right? Well, that don't make you tough. You won.
Right.
But that don't mean you're tough.
Exactly.
And did you get your nose broken, your eye black, and did you keep fighting? Because then you're tough, right? You took that kind of punishment and you kept coming back to do the job, right? You didn't let it discourage you and cower over. So for dogs, for gameness, to me, my definition is, did the dog, now you don't want to put punishment on your dog that don't have to, but did the dog take a licking and keep on ticking? Or was it just an easy match? You know, it's
right. No, for sure. No, I agree with that 100%. And there's definitely something to be said about that for the, the dog and the human aspect. Is like, one, let's just say, like, it's like if you putting your dog on little bitty pigs over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
That ain't game. Well, it didn't prove its gameness.
Right. He is. Right. You are giving him confidence to get out there in the game situation, but now where the gameness comes in, he's used to seeing hogs this big. Now he's got a hog out there that's, bigger than he is, but he goes after it. Of course, he's going to go after it, and it tosses him. And he's like, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
Now, what you said about game, this is where the real test kicks in. Is that dog going to get the fuck up and go back after that hog? Or is he going to look at you like you're crazy for sending his ass out there?
Exactly.
And it's the same thing. Like, it's like they say, like in sports, like kind of how you said, like a guy who like even me, when I used to do martial arts, I was always around guys like that. oh, I won such and such match. And yeah, bro, but you were fighting like, bro, you're a brown belt and you were beating up
Right, man.
shit like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Like
Like
being in the front yard with your little brother or something, you know, man, you ain't getting no heavyweight title for that.
Right. But then you get in the ring with a motherfucker who knows what they're doing and just clobbers your ass.
Yeah.
Because why? You didn't learn anything because you were so used to winning those easy fights. You don't know. You didn't even know how to lose. You couldn't even lose properly. You know what I mean? And that's the thing is like I you know when I used to when I was training, I didn't understand it at first. When my teacher told me, he said sometimes losing is winning, and I'm like, nigga, what the fuck is you talking about? Losing is winning. I didn't understand that as a 13, 14-year-old kid. I just wanted to use nunchucks, dude. You're talking about losing is winning. I'm trying to crack somebody's skull in with these things.
Right.
You know, but then as I got older, I understood it because I running into those guys who were always winning but never had lost anything. So they're like, it's kind of like you said, it didn't even mean anything to them at that point. They're just going around picking fights with people or you know, just doing shit just to do shit. And then eventually you run into that one hog or that one dude and he puts it on your ass and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then that's when the real test comes in. Are you going to get up and fight back, win or lose? Or are you going to run off somewhere? You know what I mean? For sure, bro. And I think people generally have the animals or the things around them that are like tailored to them as well. Like in most cases. Because now, and like I said, now we're not talking about the average person. We're talking about the real dog programmer, like yourself. You know, like if you weren't a guy that was tough or that had some integrity and some confidence and some intelligence, you probably wouldn't be dealing with oppressor, because that is what to me, that's what that dog represents. Right. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people, a lot of good breeders, they trying to find whether, you know, whatever this animal is to best represent them, because you want to be happy with this animal. You know, people like, you could sell a presser to somebody who really doesn't want a presser, but they saw, like you said, they saw somebody walking it down the street and it looked good. You know, that type of dog, like we said, that type, it looked good. So they call somebody up and then they get the dog, but they're not happy with the dog. Why? Because it really don't suit them or their lifestyle or anything like that. You know what I mean? Then now all of a sudden the dog's got a hold of somebody else's dog or bitten somebody's kid, because you should have never had that dog in the first place, because you live in a condo in D.C. that's 700 square feet, and you know what I mean? And you work.
You're in DuPont Circle, man. This ain't
right,
for
yeah, you work right.
Well,
there's a guy in that area. He's got a Corso and a Bordeaux.
Really?
And a Hummer, living in a condo. If that makes sense. Hummer, you know what he's using those dogs for. He's trying to pick up chicks.
Yeah.
You know what
right.
I mean?
Right.
And
that's funny you say that, though. That's funny you say that. You know, thinking about those dogs being that way. Because, you know, I go to some events sometimes, man, and man, people come out. I seen one guy come out, was walking. Was it? I want to say it was 3 Borbles at a dog event, and I'm thinking to myself, what kind of Borbles are these? You know, that you're comfortable enough walking 3 adult Borbles around. You know,
yeah,
but I never walk more than 1 adult dog presser at a time. Like you'll never see me with 2, like walking 2 presses at the same time.
Yeah, I tried that once. I learned my lesson.
And you'll never see me outside of my house walking a dog in shoes that don't lace up. Like usually I'm in boots. You're not going to see me in slides or Crocs walking a presser, much less working one or something. Like, nah, man, I need some grip, because I see what goes on. I see what can happen. And nah, but you know, just talking about the guy using the dog, like the dogs like that, thinking that they're I guess watered down enough that to have 3 of those dogs in a condo together out in that type of environment or whatnot.
Well, that's like that. I don't know the name of the kennel, whatever, but like, man, I had like 20 people send me this reel, and it's somebody out on a farm somewhere, and I guess they had a litter of presses. I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident, but they ended up keeping the litter for whatever reason. I don't know, all of the litter. And so they got like 15 presses running around, like grown dogs, like on the property. And I'm like, man, I would never, man, I had 4 dogs here, and I had breakup fights at least once a day. Sometimes I wouldn't even get in them shits, depending on why they started. Like, oh, I'm not even getting in that. They'll sort that shit out. You know what I mean?
I don't. There's only a couple of my dogs that I can have around one another, like say inside the house off leash, that I trust enough that they can. It's a male and a female.
These are
outside of that. No, I don't. I do not.
Aggressive. This is a dog aggressive breed. You know what I mean? And I think, like, how we just said that, like, I could easily hear someone saying like, oh, you just don't know how to train your dog. You can't walk 2 or 3 presses at one time.
The genetics are genetics.
I could walk 2 or 3 watered down presses at one time. I used to be a dog walker. I could walk 10 dogs at one time with couplers. But what we're saying is trying to walk 2 real deal Presa Canarios, even if those 2 dogs don't have a problem with each other, is still going to be a problem for you. If any animal of, man, my dog used to chase butterflies. So, you know what I mean? And it wasn't for them to land on his nose. He's up there snapping it, you know what I mean? So,
well, hey, that case that we were talking about in the beginning of this conversation from San Francisco, she was walking both presses down the hallway through that apartment building.
Yeah, what? And 2 of those dogs, and 2 pit bulls, two mini schnauzers is a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to try to pick them both up. I remember I was walking Champa and Beerus at the same time. They were only like 5-6 months at the time, right? And I was new in this town. I just bought this house. I didn't realize that there were literally 3 times as many dogs in this town as there are people. And there's only 5,000 people here. But they're like my neighbor over here, she's got a dog and a cat. My neighbor over here, he's got 2 dogs and a cat. Before they moved, they had 2 dogs. My neighbor down here has 2 dogs. The neighbor on the other side of her has 2 dogs. My neighbor over here has 3 dogs. My neighbor down here has 4 dogs. You see what I'm saying? And these are the worst of the worst when it comes to dog owners in this town. There's some really good ones here, and we all know each other because we all complain about everything. Like, man, I've been attacked. Bro, listen, the first year here, I had 14 random dog attacks, and none of them were my fault. Not one of them. Just out walking. Dude, it was so bad. I tried to start walking them at 1 and 2 in the morning when no one else would be out, and still had a dog attack.
Damn. Wow. Yeah. I walk dogs at that time too, man, especially in the summertime because it gets so hot here in Richmond. And I mean, you already know. You weren't far away. It's so hot and humid here that 1 a.m. dog walk will hit a few miles in, and chances are there's going to be less idiots around. And because, man, you can tell people, it's crazy to me how people want to come up on dogs like this. And you're like, hold up, this ain't that kind of dog. No, it's okay. It's all right. I'm okay with dogs. It don't matter if you're okay. The dog's not okay with you. It's fine.
Chihuahua, right? I've had a few people I've had to go off on here about that shit. I'm like, bro, I don't care. You just don't touch the dog, like, without asking. You know what I mean? I could be training the dog. You could be a service dog. I had one guy tell me, well, why do you got him out here then? I said,
right. Yeah, I've heard that one too.
Before it's a problem. But
Yeah.
bro,
And I'm like, man, I've tried to avoid you. I've walked away from you and I've gone around this way on and then you're going to ask me, you keep following me and you're going to ask me why I've got him out here, man. Just go on somewhere.
I remember when I had my litter and I had all the puppies out in the front yard because I didn't want to take them out in the back because it was just too wet and muddy back there. And so I had them all out in the front. And actually, I was taking them out 3 at a time, basically. And so there were some people out at the park because the weather was just starting to get warm. And so around here, like now, it just it was 40 degrees today. The snow melted the other day. There were motherfuckers out playing basketball in 39, 40-degree weather today. So I had the puppies out, and this lady and her 2 kids were walking their dog. And her daughter sees the puppies. And her mom tells her, oh, run over there and go pet the dogs. Now, I also had one of the older dogs out. And so there again, you know what I mean? But it doesn't even matter if I had one puppy out, an older dog out. Why would you tell your kid that? Puppies, some people think, like you said, they see dogs and they think it's like an invitation to
people in general don't understand boundaries at all. People don't understand boundaries at all. To do that.
No, bro, they don't. And I don't. I understand the average dog you see is probably pretty friendly. You know what I mean? And won't bite you. Like my neighbors that live down the street, she's got 2 dogs. She's got a golden retriever and a black lab. And they let their dogs out. Like tomorrow morning when I go out, those dogs are on their tethers and they're just out in the front yard. You know what I mean? Chilling. And those dogs get mad if you don't come and pet them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they will bark at you like, why, hey, come on over here. But there are days when I walk through there and the dogs know me. The owners know me. I sit out there and pet them for 10, 15 minutes, talk to them. But then there's some days when I walk by there, and as soon as I get close to the dogs, they run from me. You know what I mean? So I tell people that all the time. It's like, yeah, maybe 80% of the time that dog didn't mind being petted or whatever. But then, like I just said, I walk past the same dog, and I put my hand out to a dog that I pet 5 days a week. And 2 days out of the week, the dog don't want to have shit to do with me.
Hey, so every dog has a day.
Right. I think as humans versus animals in general, bro, we just don't give animals enough credit on their intelligence because we just think we're superior, to everything. And and we don't give these animals enough credit. And I know we don't give them enough credit because you got people training their dogs. Dogs are visual. At least I thought that dogs were visual. But you got people training their dogs for protection work with things that aren't even weapons that you would never be assaulted with.
Right.
You know what I mean? When in the fake version of these weapons that a knife, a gun, a bat, a pole, or whatever exist.
Right.
You know what I mean? You've probably heard me say it a million times. Like, bro, why are guys? Hey, man, look, if you like gas cans, great. But I
can see the purpose of the gas can. I can see the purpose of it, and the noise distraction is the dog gonna come off the bike. I can see that purpose of it.
The noise, I get that. I just
the dog gonna spook with this over its head with that noise. It's going to, let loose with, I can see that part, but I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly.
A lot of the guys, because me, I always tell people, I was on the debate team, so I got to be able to debate even my own points. Right. But even then, a lot of the time, the guys are yelling. You know what I mean? So do they really need the noise of the? Because they're like you know what I mean? Like get up, So but my thing is you could cause a problem for yourself because let's say a motherfucker walking up to you with a gas can and their car broke down. They need some gas and your dog attacks them.
Right. No, with the work that I do, I try to keep it as realistic as possible. sport trainers, hey, y'all do a great job. Y'all do a great job training. Not talking no trash on them. What they're training for, I'm probably not going to face in real life with a lot of the stuff.
Well, most of these dogs never really get.
Most dogs never have to engage at all, right?
Yeah, 80% of them.
No. To me, I don't find like sport type training beneficial.
Right.
I find real life. Yeah, real life is. So with that, I see a lot of stuff with trainers, decoys, agitators, and stuff, and I'm thinking, and I think, and maybe it's just, maybe I just overthink it. But I think to myself, like, why do you do that? Like, they'll be working a dog, right? They're agitating or whatever. They're having fun doing it, or the dog is reacting the way they want it to do it. They start smiling. And I'm thinking, well, a dog is pretty visual. And if you're the decoy and you're amping this, and then it does, and you're smiling, does that dog associate that behavior, that physical behavior, into the future? You get what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
Right. Yeah, you need to be an actor. You need to be an actor. This thing is hurting you. Oh, make a painful face, because that's what real life is going to be. The noises you're making to amp up this dog. A lot of people make this noise. Like they're bringing prey out of a dog, right? Well, if you get cold and you go like that, I've seen a dog do it where a dog perks up like, oh, what's happening here?
That's exactly what I mean when I say, like, I don't think we're giving the dogs enough credit, because we think that as humans, we are just, we're superior. And I'm like,
we're not.
We can't be that superior. If you need a dog for protection, how superior are you? If you're so superior, you should be able to protect yourself. You know what I mean? So, and you're right, like certain sounds and visuals, and like that was when I first started seeing the gas cans and comment, and it's not just gas cans, but commenting on it. That was my thing. Like, I never even really said it to, like, I said it jokingly, but I'm like, bro, ain't nobody getting robbed with gas cans, bro. Like, you can buy fake knives, you can buy fake guns, or get guns with blanks. There was another trainer, man. I was supposed to interview him, and I lost my old page, and I don't remember his channel, his page name, but he was like that. He's like, no, bro, we only do real life situations over here. We use guns with blanks because, the dogs, we need the dogs to hear the sounds, feel the bullets, all this whizzing by them. So we use the one guns that shoot out the pellets, all of that. Like, and then I have seen some guys who have gotten pretty physical in training. I'm like, well, I don't personally, like, I feel like I'm going to train my dog myself. But if I were to take my dog somewhere, that's where beat his ass. I paid $5,000 for this dog. Like, somebody breaks in my house, they could mean to kill, rape, harm, rob, or all of that, or some of that, or whatever combination. This dog better get rich or die trying.
That's
you
right.
know what I mean?
That's right.
Because that's what he's there for. So how do I know that he can handle the situation? Like I tell people all the time, how you know your dog can take a hit if he ain't never taken a hit?
He ain't never been hit. Because let me tell you, I've been around people, and I'm not going to try to blast them out or nothing, but people, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to these animals, and people get on that internet and talk about they got the best one in the world. And I've seen that dog, and they're like, hey, man, you go. I don't even let people around this dog without a bite suit on. If we were within 25 foot, you got to have. And it's like, what? You got the dog on a leash? Like, what are you talking about? And the first time, just in testing that dog, not going too hard, get hit on the front leg, with the whip. We ain't whipping bulls here,
Right.
See what's going on. Shit about came out of its collar and ran the other way, man.
But see, that's what I was going to say. But a lot of times, a lot of these dogs, they're not, sometimes the suit becomes a hindrance, or like you said, the smiling, something something went wrong at some point to where I have a friend who, I have a few friends who've told me this, who have Malleys, Rottweilers, Dobermans, and they bring them back from these training courses, and they're like, the dog still ain't protecting me. Like, the dog won't do anything unless the sleeve is present. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that means that something has happened in that training. Yeah. So obviously that motherfucker don't know what he's doing, whoever trained that dog. Because now if somebody breaks in your house, this dog's not going to do anything because the man's not in a suit.
Because he ain't got equipment on, right?
You never put him in a position. You got to train with the suit on, but there's other positions that you can put your dog in where a suit is not involved, where he can become just as aggressive. He may not get to bite. He may not get to bite.
Sleeve, something. Start with hidden sleeves or something like that. I've never understood the whole thought of let's train it on like a sleeve and then transition over to not having equipment. Like, well, why not just train a dog to not focus on equipment from the start?
And that's what I've been saying. It's like, why is it like, obviously we don't want anybody to get hurt,
right?
But at the same time, you got 100+ pound dog of particular breeds, that because those are the most dogs you see. Mostly 90-pound plus breeds of dogs in certain categories are the ones you see during these particular type of training exercises. So those dogs generally have huge bite forces and they're extremely powerful. And when a dog gets turned on, there's no telling what can happen. So obviously we want to protect ourselves, but like you said, in a real life situation, too much of something and not enough of one thing can put you in a real fucked up position that you didn't even think about.
Yeah.
Because if let's say you're at home sleeping and your dog's downstairs and somebody picks the lock, right? They pick the lock, your alarm's not on, so they come in. Dog probably heard that. You know what I mean? Probably heard something. He may not know what's going on, but he doesn't hear anything else. You know how a dog, he doesn't hear anything else. Might lay back down a little while, look around, hear something else. He gets up, he goes and investigates. You know what I mean? To see what the hell is going on. So automatically, you've got a dog right there that is aware of his environment. He's protecting his environment because his diet is there. So obviously, his diet and all those elements are there that he needs. So now, let's say the person kicks the door in because he doesn't know let's say he doesn't know there's a dog in there, and that's the not knowing there's a dog situation. He kicks the door in. If your dog isn't used to loud noises and crashes and, like you said,
absolutely, it ain't gonna take much to get that dog to go away.
Man, run the fuck upstairs and go and get you when you should have been waking up to that guy screaming or wrestling with that dog. You go get whatever weapon you may have, whatever it may be, and get down there and assist your friend. Yeah. That's one scenario. The other scenario is if I'm a cat burglar and I'm casing your house, I know you got a dog in there, but what you want, I need. So I'm not scared of your dog. What am I going to do? There's many situations like me being a dog person, if I was a thief, I'm getting in your house. I don't give a fuck what kind of dog you got. I guarantee you I'm going to get in that house. Now, whether I make it in or out, now that's only can be determined, one, not necessarily by the breed. I could say the breed could help because obviously some breeds are smarter and better at things than others, but also by what you have influenced in that dog's environment.
And to someone, just to be clear, whoever hears this, not knocking like me saying about that dog that got hit on the front leg, when we were doing work, not bashing the dog. What I am saying is a lot of people overestimate their dogs, and it'll hurt you. They're
not tested or proven. How do we know?
Right. It's like, people overestimate. It's like this. You have your imprint. Humans, animals, whatever, right? So we're talking about a dog that's going to protect you. That's like a combat, okay, scenario. So a lot of people overestimate their dog based off of breed alone. Well, I got a whatever, so it's gonna,
nothing.
yeah, yeah. Like bless her heart. I see that this girl had a couple Great Danes, and she's like, I got nothing to worry about. And I'm thinking, yeah, I would not put my life in the hands of 2 Great Danes at all. But a lot of people, they based off of breed, and then they see what they want to see out of the animal that they have. So it was in the backyard and it did this and stuff on its own property, on a chain, whatever. So people tend to see what they want to see out of their dogs. And until you actually do some type of testing, don't bet your life on it. Don't bet your life on it.
Yeah, you'll never know. You're never going to know for sure. Like, doesn't matter how much that dog barks at the window, how many squirrels he caught and killed. Like, it doesn't matter. Because you got to think about this. Like, some people have a problem with certain things, and me, I just try to hit them with logic. And I'm like, bro, you bought a presser and you don't want it to do presser shit, or you bought this type of dog, you bought a bulldog and you don't want it to do bulldog shit. Like, people are taking these dogs into the woods to tackle hogs. They may not make it out.
Right.
So I feel like we can push these training exercises. And then like I said, some people are starting to do that, to taking them to the next level, because if he can't take a hit in training, or a decent hit, then he damn sure ain't gonna take one in the field. When it's when it comes time, when it really matters. And I have seen a few people that they're grabbing the dogs up and they're slamming them into the walls and the boards, and I'm like, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. Because
not to the point of breaking the neck of the dog.
Yeah, we're not trying to kill the dog, but they're trying to get the dog to experience and realize, if somebody breaks in their house, that's most likely, this is the situation you're probably gonna be in.
Do you have enough fight drive in you? Okay, you had defense drive or something like that to defend it, but now there's a fight that's ensued. You got fight drive in you?
Like, your best presser could bite me, right? I could break in your house, your dog comes, I put my arm up, because dogs generally bite what's in front of them. I put my arm up, the dog bites me, right? And so automatically, like, I'm gonna be in pain. I want to get the dog off me. Now
you punch it, you kick it.
I'm rib shot, bow, bow, bow. A grown man. I'm not a big guy, but let's just say your average size guy start punching a dog in the ribs.
Most dogs ain't used to that.
Yeah, after a while, man, that dog is gonna, but don't we know dogs? You hit a dog, the dog we're talking about, people. Once you engage this dog and he knows that it's on. He has you and you hit him, he's going to hit you back. He's not hitting you, but he's going to shake you. He's going to drag. Every time you hit him, he's going to hit you back, and you're going to see who's going to stop first.
My dogs, when we do like a scenario, the harder a decoy goes on the dog, the harder the dog gives it back. They don't go down. They're like, oh, you want to take the fight to this level? Let's go to this level then. Yep. And then the decoy goes harder, then they fight harder back at that. It's like they're on what you on. If you fight them at, say, a level 2, then they're probably going to give it to you at a level 2. You amp it up to level 5, they giving it to you level 6. They're going to meet what you got and then a little bit more.
No, I agree with that, man. And any good dog of any breed, I don't give a fuck what kind of, and that's the thing, was like, when you're talking to people and they talk about, breeds and great breeds and good dogs, and I'm like, bro, all the breeds are great. They're all great in their own right. You just got to find the one that works for you, but finding the best dog of those breeds, that is the challenge. I mean, it's you always want to, even, come 70s, 80s, 90s, we say that we had, unfortunately, we had better dogs then. We should have, those were great dogs, but we should have
better ones today.
Right. We should have, and we don't. In most
No.
cases, we don't. In most breeds, in most cases, we don't. And I think
Right.
that's what what it is like. People, you're just not getting the breed that's for you, or you're getting things for the wrong reason in general. But
well, I mean, not to cut you off, but think about this. So it's 2026. Presses have been here in the United States, since the late 90s?
92.
So, all right, early 90s, I'm sorry. I guess I'm referring it to some of the bigger kennels out here, and this is not a slap towards them, where they started in the later 90s. So that's, almost, we'll just say 30 years that presses have been here. Why are we still going back to the islands to get dogs?
Well,
why hasn't it improved in that many generations of dogs? That I get some of it. I get some of the reason. Okay, maybe you need some new blood. Then there's the part of, okay, well, it's in the public eye seen as more valuable because it's an import, right? Or whatnot, marketing. But in 30 years, why haven't we done something to the point to where maybe the islands are even contacting us like, hey, could you send over a couple dogs? Why are we steadily having to go there for the source at this point?
Right. And in some very rare cases that has happened where you've had a couple people from the islands called over here, but that's extremely rare. And the crazy thing is, most of the presses that are imported aren't coming from the islands anyway. They're coming from Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
If you look at the majority of kennels, they're not coming out of the Canary Islands. Those dogs, they're coming from, Turkmenistan, Albania, Yugoslavia, a lot of the presses are coming from now. And I know people who have dogs from those people personally. I've done podcasts with people who have dogs from those people personally, and a lot of them say they are less than impressed with those dogs, or the paperwork wasn't what it was supposed to be, or genetically the dog wasn't sound. It came through with some recessive shit. It's the whole purpose is, like you said, is of anything. If you're breeding, I don't know, plants, animals, whatever, flora and fauna in general, the whole purpose is to make it better every single time. And I think that was my kind of fallout with dog breeders. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of problems with reptile breeders too. It's actually worse with the reptile people. My relationship with them is a lot worse than it is with the people with the dog people. More of them hate me than, but it's because I've drawn the parallels on both sides. I've attached the logic to it, and then I've gone out there and I've spoken out about it because the animals can't do it. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's not like, if that was the case, bro, I wouldn't have you on here. I'd have a Presa Canario on here. Why the fuck would I interview you when I could interview the dog? And the dog could tell me every fucking thing I need to know. You know what I mean? But that's not how things go. But man, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, honestly, let me say this. I kind of do have an idea what's gonna happen. Subtly things are already starting to fall into place for the ban of private pet ownership anyway. They don't want everybody out here. Dogs, pets in general are luxuries. You know what I mean? And with the current climate and all that shit, you don't need a dog. Fuck you need a snake for? You don't need that. They just told you get chicken and one broccoli. So you don't literally that's what they said. So you don't need a dog. That's too much. But there are going to be some people that are going to be able to maintain their animals through that. And I hope that those people that do are carrying on some of the best shit ever, because a lot of people are getting ready to fall off anyway. Just like you said, a lot of people come and they go. You know what I mean?
They hit that 3 year, 4 year deal, and then they're gone, man.
Yeah, they weren't, there was no longevity behind it for some people. And then I've had people come in who, in their mind's eye, or what they were saying or thinking, or what they were even their actions were showing, they wanted to be in it for the long run, and then certain things happen. that were, out of their control. Maybe they lost dogs or something like that. So then they're like, man, I don't even want to, what I mean? I don't even want to mess with it. And they were good people, those, they were, but unfortunately, then you got guys who come in who are breeding dogs that they know are fucked up genetically, breeding them, selling them anyway. You know what I mean? And then those guys will go like you said, 3-4 years. They just put 5 or 6 litters of fucked up pups into the system. You know
That's
what I mean?
it.
And if you don't know that, you don't know who they are, you don't know anything about it, whether you've been in it for a while or you're new, and you end up with one of those dogs, you know what I mean? And that stuff in your program or whatever, because like you said, and like we both been saying, it's like a lot of stuff now is like it's about the name and the slogan. You know what I mean? And
smart type of marketing, man.
Yeah, and it's people. We're not saying don't sell puppies. That's not what we're saying. And we understand, like you got a litter of 7, 8, 9, 10 puppies. Nobody wants to get stuck with all those. I don't want to say it like that, but
I mean that's what it is, man. I've had litters like 17, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
But at the same time, you gotta kind of expect that can happen.
Absolutely.
If you give a shit about what you're doing, because maybe you could have sold all 10 of those puppies in a week to 10 losers that were gonna fuck those dogs up. Like you said, they were gonna Craigslist them, put them to sleep. The dog done ran away or whatever. Rather than, man, I'm gonna have to sit on these dogs because, like, I had to do that. Like, I don't know who I'm gonna sell them to. Like, I ran ads on Hoobly. I didn't put much stuff on Instagram. I was on like Pet Finder, a couple of those apps, and I got all kind of hits. You know what I mean? But I had people like, oh, how much for the Connie Corso? Like, so
that's right. That's right.
You didn't even read it. I don't even have Connie Corso.
Yeah. Yeah. Or do these dogs get big? Really? Why do these dogs get big?
I would have not been so mad about that question, but I had people calling saying, wanting me to hold puppies with no deposit. And then they want me to hold puppies with no deposit. And then when I'm like, bro, I'm only asking between 1,000 and 1,500 for a pup. The only thing you need to give me for a deposit is I'm not waxing you. Like, the only thing you can need to give me for a deposit is like $100, bro. Like, you don't need to give me a whole bunch of money.
Still wouldn't want to do it. Still didn't want to do it
because he said he didn't want to get scammed. And I said, bro,
tell me
one breeder of anything that has something that is not ready or that you don't have the full money for. You weren't even ready. The puppies weren't even ready to go. But even if they were, if you didn't have the full money for, you can tell me one breeder that is gonna hold a pup or a snake or a frog or even a nigga. Motherfucker won't even hold a food for you unless you pay for it.
Right.
So
it's funny. It's funny you said that. It's funny you said that because I told you I was got a breeding right now, like tomorrow to do. And I do things a little different than some breeders. I'm the only person that I know, if you put down a deposit before the actual time of the breeding, I take 10% off the cost of the pup because you were serious enough to put it down, right? You put your deposit. What that tells me is, okay, here is another home for this pup, right? Because you breed your dogs, you want to make sure first and foremost that they have somewhere to go. I mean, that's just what it is. Also, when a person puts a deposit on it, okay, now it shows like they're thinking, okay, I'm getting this pup. Because I'm sure you've been there too. The dog where a puppy's 8 weeks old and oh man, this once in a lifetime emergency came up and now I can't get it. And they never have a deposit on it and all that kind of, whatever. So if you put a deposit beforehand, before the time of the actual breeding, I'll take 10% off the price of the dog.
No, that's real shit. That's I think a lot of breeders should, they don't necessarily have to do exactly what you did, but I agree with that because I use that technique for myself, and like with some of my importers, like a lot of them won't, like they know I'm good for it, so they won't take money from me up front, which they're really trying to protect me. And they're like, well, bro, what if I can't even get them? You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. Just leave the money there. Like, dude, I got like $1,000 sitting with an importer. He's had it for 2 years. I don't care. As soon as something comes in that I want, like, all right, well, I already got credit there. But then also, it's like, let's say like the situation you said, somebody gives me a deposit ahead of time, and I know they are serious. And let's say they really do have a real life-changing situation, because that does happen. One of two things I'm going to do for that person. I'm either going to just discount the dog altogether, or I'm going to work a payment plan out with them. You know what I mean? Or I'll be like, look, bro, like you gave me this. I understand. Like shit happens. Like it's a real situation. Like somebody says, oh, their kid, this or that and the other, and they show me like, look, bro, I'm not bullshit. Because that's happened. I'll be like, you know what, bro? You gave me 200. Bro, just give me another 200, bro, and come on and get the dog, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
if you're honest with me, I'm gonna treat you more than fair if you're honest with me.
Right. I could get the $2,000 for the dog. You know what I mean? You could get the $2,000, the full price for the dog. I could be like, oh well, fuck it, bro. I'm just gonna sell it to this other guy. He said he'd give me $2,000, and then he ruins the dog. Yeah, he gave me the money that I wanted. But then I can't help that. The dog, I'm like, bro, I shouldn't have sold him that fucking dog. I should have gave the dog away for free to the one family. They would have appreciated the dog way more.
Yep.
No,
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Use that, and you can use that to your advantage to have a good dog in a home that you don't have to take care of, that you can still use. You know what I mean? Contract him out. No, this is you. The dog lives with you. You take care of him. But I need some semen, or I need to breed this dog, this many times, and such and such and such per whatever the contract is. So there's a lot of things, and a lot of that used to happen. But these days, bro, like everybody wants to be the man, or everybody wants to be the woman, everybody wants to be number one.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I mean? If everybody
wants to be the boss, and they want it out the gate.
Buy all the dogs then. If everybody is that's my thing, is like if everybody's a breeder, if everybody's a boss, if everybody's a leader, then who's going to work? Who's going to buy the dog? Who are the followers? Being a follower in this sense doesn't necessarily mean, oh, you're doing what someone said. We're talking about because leaders were once followers. They had to learn some shit. You know what I mean? It's about who you're following. That's what's important. But yeah, that's the thing, bro. It's like, that's why, I wish we could have did this interview fucking 6 months ago before, because this was I could have aligned this like directly with my press presentation. I probably would have released them like together, had Joe put them out together. But this was I already knew this was going to be a good podcast. So, but damn, bro, we're at over 3 hours, so we probably could do another 2 hours. So
we probably could. We can do a part 2 sometime if you want to.
Yeah, no, we will, bro. I'm gonna because I'm gonna holler at my guy because so I talked to Joe today, and Joe told me this, and I forgot, bro, because like I said, bro, Joe, I talk to literally like 100 people every day worldwide, like clients, motherfuckers on and offline. I said, bro, you did tell me that and I forgot. Like Joe has contracted his channel out. So he's under contract now. So so 2 things are going to happen. I am going to put up a private website when I get some more, because there's like 6 or more interviews that I was supposed to do that never got done. So I am going to put up a private site. But what I am going to do is I'm going to talk to some of these other guys who I've done podcasts for, who don't have a ton of subscribers and things like that, and start kind of feeding them, because that's kind of how me and Joe kind of met. I did something for someone, and then I came on there and help him boost his views and all that. So because like this was an awesome interview, bro. Like especially for people who really want to hear about the Pressa, and not like we could have sat here and you could have told me about 2 or 3 of your great dogs, and we could have sat there and talked about them, that, and the other, this and that. But people are not going to get the Pressa experience from that. Like, to experience 2 people the same time period, I've got a little bit more on the Pressa than you had, because I found out about it sooner.
Right.
But to have similarities, and I mean, you've gone further with the Pressa than I have. You know what I mean? Like I'm reptiles are my thing. I've done more for other people's programs than I've done for anything I've ever done for myself. And I'm proud of it. I have no problem with that at all. But I wanted people to actually hear about the personality of the dog, to hear that the dog has changed for sure from someone else other than me saying it. And basically comparing notes, bro. Like this was an excellent conversation, bro. Like,
and I really think that I really think it scratched the surface. It was a lot
more. Yeah, we could keep going.
Yeah, it could have gotten a lot more in depth on it.
Yeah, because we talked about a whole mess of things, and we brought other breeds into it, and then still reverted back to the Pressa. You know what I mean? Because it has so many connections and ties and so many different avenues. Like it's got some positive labels and it's got some negative labels. It's got some good people behind it. It's got some bad people behind it. We've seen this. This is a dog that obviously people in the Canary Islands felt enough about it, is that when they thought they were going to lose it, a fighting dog, a type of fighting dog, they thought that they were going to lose the dog, that they went to and made it a part of their legislation. There's only a couple other breeds that are literally tied into legislation.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that says a lot, about the people, about the breed itself, and why they wanted to preserve it. And it's sad that when something leaves to another place, especially when stuff comes over here, is that we have a tendency to fuck shit up over here. Unfortunately.
Ruin it. Yep. Seems like it gets ruined when it hits the States, man. Yeah.
And it's sad, bro, because I want people to have the same experience that we had, but with a softer landing, if that makes sense for everybody. Like experience what we experienced with the dog, but now, like, through what Ryan has done and other people, like proper programming, now that you do have a dog that is adaptable, but is no less Perro de Presa Canario.
I try to create that as well, just like with the puppy sales, right? And I'll get people that contact me. I want the largest black male you have. And I'm like, that's not how I sell puppies.
Right. Me either.
Because you're going to get you're probably going to get a bad experience with this dog, and you're going to hate that breed forever. What's your activity level like? Do you have children? Is there another dog? If you're a regular pet owner and you already have a male dog, I'm not sending you a male Pressa.
Right.
Not going to do it. If you're a regular pet owner. So I ask those questions, and after they answer those, I say, okay, well, I'm sending you a female. You're not going to get a male because you got a bulldog, a male bulldog already. You're going to get a female. And if it happens to be black, congratulations. If not, I don't know, man. Don't be color racist with dogs.
Yeah, some people, because, this whole, back in the day, color, until the blue dog hit, the blue, whether you American Pit Bull Terrier, Amstaff, Bully, whatever you want to categorize it as, color wasn't a huge factor in dogs. We're not saying that people would be like, oh my God, that's a beautiful fawn, or that's a whatever the dog may be, but it wasn't a huge factor until that blue, and then the designer came in, or people were specifically like, I'm not going to sit here and say, like I just said, like I would love a blue brindle. I like blue brindle, but if the blue brindle isn't the better dog, I don't want that shit.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick a
Lamborghini costs a lot of money. Lamborghini's exotic. But if my job is to do DoorDash all day, Lamborghini's worthless to me.
Right.
I'd rather have a Toyota Camry.
I've had people, even when I did my Pressa Canario interview for Eric years ago, someone in the comments said they had a problem with how they're like, I would never buy a pup from you. And I'm like, I would never sell you a pup. That's what I commented back. And his problem was because so I said, well, here's two things with me. One, you don't pick the puppy. I pick the puppy for you based off what you told me, similar to what you said. We're having a conversation and you tell me I'm looking for 5 major points. And when you answer them, I may not even have the dog that you want.
That's right.
You know? So as a good breeder, I'm going to tell you I don't, and then I may recommend someone else. But if I do have the dog, let's say I got 8 puppies in the litter. You say you're looking for a dog that does A, B, C, and D. But I only got 2 puppies that do A, B, C, and D. Well, them the only dogs you're going to see. The other 6 ain't got shit to do with you.
Nope.
Because like I said, if in this situation, if I let all them puppies out and you come, you're going to pick the dog that's most appealing to you, the most eye-catching, and then you're not going to have a good experience. And then you're going to blame me probably and say I sold you some shit. But that's you picked the dog. But then that's my fault. It is my fault ultimately because I let you do it at my house with my folks. Because it ain't your dog until you buy it.
And, you know, it's interesting to me. Obviously, we've been with animals for a long time. People will see it. Okay, they see a Corso, they see a Presa, they're like, "Ooh, that's interesting." So they start, learning about it, whatever, and they have that time period that they think they've learned, about this, and then they come and they look at these puppies, and they somehow think they're going to outsmart you on picking the puppy, and it's like, man, this is what we do. This is what we do. Like you went on YouTube, you've listened to a couple things, whatever, and do this with the pup and it'll show that, or what, you think you're going to outsmart the breeder when the breeder's telling you what it is. And if you don't trust me enough to pick it, why are we doing business together? If you don't trust me enough, like with the deposit thing, the people are like, well, I've been burned before. I understand it. I understand exactly what you're saying. But if you don't trust your breeder enough, put a deposit with them, why are you doing business with them?
Right. No, for sure. Yeah, because you only have 2 types of breeders. You have good breeders and you have bad breeders. And the way it goes is a good breeder isn't going to try to trick you. So obviously he doesn't want any bullshit. He's trying to give you the best experiences possible. A bad breeder, he's already tricked your ass before you got there. Because little do you know, you're going to buy the 8th pick of the litter from a litter of 9. Every puppy that left there was pick of the litter. Every puppy that left there was pick of the litter.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't do. That's another thing. I don't do pick of the litter. You'll never believe in that. I don't believe in that. Because your pick don't mean it's my pick, right? No. I don't do that pick of the litter. And I will say, okay, this is more of a pet type quality,
Right. We could say a dog may, he may go
I'll
this
sell
way,
it for less, but not more.
Right, for
and
sure.
I don't do Christmas litters. You'll never see me say, "Oh, we got this Christmas litter just in time."
Yeah, that's some strategic planning right there, boy.
So you can go have a pretzel puppy for 2 months, get tired of taking it out, realize it's not for you, want to return it. I'm end up with a puppy that you ain't done nothing with, and probably messed up more than you helped. And now I'm no.
I feel that. I feel that because you want to take a springtime vacation off that Christmas litter.
Yeah. Your buddy got a boat, and you want to go take a vacation, and now you don't want a dog. No.
Yep. No, it's that's the thing with me and animals. Like people are like, hey man, I get people all the time like, bro, no one really asks me about dogs anymore. They may ask like, hey, what do you think about this breeder? What do you think about that breeder? And I'm like, well, if you're looking for this, like you would go here. You're looking for this, you might want to talk to this person. But with reptiles, it's different. Like people call me and they're like, hey bro, you're going to be getting any scrubs in, or you're going to be bringing this in, or you're going to be doing that in, you're going to be doing this, that, and the other. And for my friends or people that I know that I've been chill with for years, like I don't have a problem doing shit for them. They rarely ask me. And unfortunately, I don't control the laws, and the laws are all messed up. But then I get people who come in and they ask me for this stuff. and they don't really want it. They want it. They think that they want it.
Yeah.
They get it, or sometimes they don't even get it. Like, okay, here's a better scenario. This is true. Bro, I had this guy. It's a true story, man. I had this guy for like 6 months, bro. He calls me wanting to broker some animals for him he wants me to import, and I have to broker them too. And so I'm like, all right, bro. Well, I can do that, and this is how much I charge. What are you looking for? Well, I'm like, first of all, what state do you live in? So he tells me where he lives. I'm like, all right. And so then he starts asking for only the high end of the high end animals. You know what I mean? And he's a bully. This was an exotic bully breeder, right? He's never bred reptiles in his life, like none of this. But he's asking me literally for snakes that cost upwards of $10,000-$20,000 for one. You know what I mean? And the reason he's coming to me is because import, these snakes that may retail for $20,000-$30,000, I can get 10 of them for $20,000-$30,000.
Right.
Bring them back over here and sell them if that's what I wanted to do. So he hits me up and he's like, and it was crazy because it was actually on like some racist shit. This is a black guy. He's like, man, the white guys, they won't fuck with me. And I was like, well, the white guys don't even fuck with the white guys because you're asking them to help you not pay top dollar. None of them are going to fuck with you, bro. It ain't got nothing to do with you being black. It's got something to do with you trying to get more for less.
Right.
And so, he's like, oh, well, regardless. I was like, yeah, bro, I hear you, whatever. And so he starts telling me what he's looking for, and he starts naming all this venomous shit. And I'm like, bro, you can't even own that shit where you live legally. And I said, I'm not going to have my name on the paperwork or any of my people's name on the paperwork that shit came in, and then you get bit in Connecticut, and then they start doing a paper trail of that shit, and then I got to be questioned. You know what I mean? Because of the route of the snake didn't pass through any. It went from here to me to illegal state. Like, no.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like, no. So I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not gonna, do any of that stuff for you, like, any illegal shit, but these pythons or whatever, like I can do that stuff. I'm like, I'll let you know when I'm gonna do an order, it'll probably be here in a few weeks. I'll let you know. And I don't take any money like up front until no. The reason so this is what happens. So this, like I said, this is, since this is a real situation, and it explains how it works. So you have private importers and exporters, and you have farm imports and exports. You have commercial and private, basically. So there's limitations on both. Private is very limited. Farm has less limitations on what animals can and come in. But a lot of animals that come in under farm bred are actually wild caught. So legally, they're not allowed to come in under wild caught or through private export. So they have to come in through farm. But they're not farm bred animals. The rule is it's unofficial, but once the animal was there for basically 3 days, it's farm bred now. So, that's how they do it.
Yeah.
So, I don't, he wants these particular pythons, and I'm like, all right, bro, why get them for farm prices is going to looking at like $2,500 to $3,500, right? We're talking about a snake that retails for almost 10 times that amount of money. It's not even worth it. I mean, it's a beautiful snake, but it's not worth $20K. So, I was like, I'll let you know. I know that they may have had some there, but I'm going to call and I'm going to check, and then I'll let you know what kind of money, I'm going to take from you up front. But I got to figure out if they even have them. Because the other problem is when you have to go to the farm, I don't own the farm, and the farm doesn't just cater to me. There's 10 other motherfuckers that are also pulling from this farm. So while I'm bullshitting on the phone with this guy, somebody else could be buying those animals. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I won't know that until. And so I call. Right. They're like, yeah, we got this many in. Do you want them? And so if I say yes, that means then they move from. It's kind of like with you. Somebody sends you a deposit on a pup. You move that pup over. That pup is on paper. That pup is over in this category now.
Yeah.
So so if I say yes, then they put that stuff on my list with all the other stuff I'm supposed to be getting. Now, mind you, I don't know when these particular animals will come and on which import they'll come on. I just know that they're mine. I paid for them, and they'll come when they come, and they'll let me know. I don't know. That's how it works. I don't have no control over that. Sometimes they come sooner, sometimes they come later. So, it comes time. I'm like, all right, bro. There's 4. There's 2 males, 2 females. How many do you want, bro? Like, I need to know. And this is the price. Like, this is what I'm charging you. And then for the broker, and then for shipping, your portion of shipping is this. Shipping is split. If I have 5 people, then 5 people split shipping. And so in the midst of that, he's like, bro, I don't think I want those anymore. I think I want these. And so, you know, I don't want to get frustrated because this is a potential to make thousands of dollars here.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want to lose the sale, but I also don't want to make a sale to an idiot either.
That's right.
So I said, look, bro, I don't want to be a dick because I am.
Yeah.
But call me back when you know what the fuck you want. And I hung up on him. About 3 months go by. This motherfucker calls me again. He's like, all right, bro, I'm ready to buy. I got the money ready. Da-da-da-da-da. I want Bolin's. This is the same snake that we started with. I'm like, bro, are you sure? I was like, I don't even know if there's any down there. Are you sure? He's like, I'm sure. I got the money. I was like, I can't tell you, bro. The price may not be the same now because that was months ago.
Right.
So he's like, no, bro, it's good. It's all good. It's all good. I just sold a bunch of bully puppies. So I'm like, all right. So I call. I'm like, all right, bro, they got a 1.2 down there. I got 1 male, 2 females. Like, what do you want to do, bro? Like, same deal. Shipping is split. But shipping is going to be a little bit more because that's a different order. So now I only got 2 people on this order. So now it's going to be a little bit more for shipping. He's like, all right, okay, let's do that. He's like, so then he starts asking me about another snake. And so I'm like, do you want them both? And I'm like, I can do both. Do you want them both? Or I was like, because I ain't got time to. He's like, yeah, I'll want them both. How many did they have? I don't remember the number. So it's like, all right. I was like, bro, so your total was going to be, it was like 7,000, some shit like that, right? And I was like, so you're going to give me 800 up front, you know, to hold these animals. So that way I know that you're serious. So I'm like, all right, bro, here's my info, my Zelle, you know, or you want to do a bank-to-bank transfer. I said XRP, paper gold, paper silver, whatever. Anything you got, I damn near take it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
2 hours goes by, I ain't got no money yet, Ryan. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I text him. And I'm like, listen, bro, like I got to, you know, let them know for sure. Oh, bro, I don't think I want those anymore. Hey, I said, bro, I'm blocking you. I said, don't contact me again. Don't contact me under another number. No, I said, bro, I have people. I said, bro, I said, first of all, I did you a favor by taking you on as a client, and I didn't even make you pay for my time. I said, you bullshitted me for about 6 months, bro. That's hundreds of dollars. I said, I charge by the hour. I said, you didn't hire me. I said, I was trying to be a friend, trying to do a favor for a friend of mine because they recommended you to me. I said, generally, I charge for this.
People will play with your time crazy, man. I
couldn't believe it. And I said, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, no, bro, I'm not trying to bullshit you. I just, you know, I said, bro, listen, go talk to the white boys that didn't want to fuck with you. That's what I told him. I said, go get one of them. I said, because clearly, I said, now the black man don't want to mess with you either. I said, and I'm mixed. I said, I'm half white. My white side don't want to fuck with you either. So I said, man, you know, you're going to have to get your animals another way. And so I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, bro, you have pissed me off so bad. I said, I ain't going to lie to you. I said, if you sent me that money, I said, I probably wouldn't even send you no fucking animals. I said, to be honest with you. I said, I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah.
I said, you bullshitted me for 6 months. I said, don't send me no money because you ain't going to get nothing in return. I said, and I will tell them that I took your shit and I will show them why I took your shit. And I said, people know me. They ain't going to give a fuck because, bro, I do good business. So, you know what I mean? But, bro, you're right. People will. People definitely will. But fuck, Ryan, we're gonna we're
Yeah, we'll
almost
have to wrap it up. This phone is about to go dead.
No, it's bro. Well, it's perfect timing, bro. I haven't eaten shit today anyway, so no, bro.
Yep.
I appreciate you coming on. I'll let you know because I'm gonna release this twice, but I'll let you know when I release it the first time and where it'll be, and I'll announce all that stuff. I'm pretty sure where I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna have to edit it good after this long period of time.
Yeah, what I'll probably do is I'll probably break it down into 2 parts. And then what I'll probably do, we'll do something else. What I'll probably do is I will grab a newer presser breeder. And then me, you, and that person will sit down. Cool. We'll do a comparison.
Cool.
And you know what I mean?
Before we hop off here, I want to give a thanks because I see dog people come on all the time. And when they're humble enough, when they actually will finally mention that they had a mentor, they'll never even say the mentor name when they can bring themselves to even mention that they ever had a mentor. I really didn't have a single mentor, but I would like to give thanks to a couple people. I'd like to thank Tom Garner. I'd like to thank Don Mayfield. I'd like to thank Manuel Curto. I'd like to thank my parents, my dad, rest in peace, my little brother Heavy, rest in peace.
All legends,
man. So,
all legends, all legends on earth. Yeah, for sure. But
yeah, and I'm sure there's a couple more. I like, and my girlfriend, because she's always helping me with dogs, and reason we get a lot of breeds done is because of her and whatnot, just in general in life. But there's probably a couple people I've forgotten, but I'd like to thank them. They've paid a big influence, whether they realize it or not. They've been very influential, and I've taken something away from them that's helped me, and I'd like to give them all thanks for it.
No, man, shout out to all those people, and shout out to anybody that's obviously, I know a lot of people, I don't know who will and won't see this because it'll be a slightly different audience, but mostly where I go, most of the same people are following. But yeah, I really want y'all to appreciate the time that we did for this particular interview, more so than any of obviously all of the things that I've done. I appreciate everybody for watching them, but this one is something that I wanted to do for a while because I've only had a chance to talk to one other presser person, and they were newer. They've only been messing with the presser for a few years. You know what I mean? So their experience was very different, and some of the things they couldn't speak about because they weren't there when that happened. Yeah. So this was a very important interview for me. To do this. So anybody watching, like I said, you're hearing us talking. This is all recorded. We are going to do something else, and it's going to be involving the presser because this is the breed that Ryan works with. So I want to keep it there, and maybe I'll just do a series where I just bring on different presser breeders in general. And then we just get different experiences and see, because that's the only way this shit's going to improve. And we need a track record to go back and conversations like this for somebody to go back and see, like, because we talked about where things were right and where things were wrong. So if you have that information, then you can fix or prevent. If you can reconstruct a dog, then you can definitely sit down, pay attention to what the fuck you have in front of you, and start to make it better.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And especially the dogs with the years that I've had with it, I've been able to experience dogs that were still island influence at the time, Spanish influenced dogs, now dogs from Germany, where they differ. A lot of people don't understand, and I'll try to wrap it up at this because we got to go, obviously. The difference in breeding styles from one location to another, even within the state.
Environment.
A person on a farm in Montana is going to have a different type of presser than me in the city of Richmond.
Yep.
Because it's a different demand, and knowing what to look for, what to expect, bloodlines, whatnot. It's definitely a big difference. Totally not knocking anybody who's newer to it, but they might have a more isolated experience with a presser because they haven't been around as many dogs like that from different locations of the world.
Right. No,
what is
that's it. That's exactly right. It's like I tell people all the time, like I got a black forest cobra and I got a brown forest cobra. They're both at one time they were all the same species, and then divided them up into 5. But my black forest cobra, they're all from Africa, and some of their locations even overlap. So you'll see some browns that look like blacks, and some blacks that look like browns, and you know what I mean. So, but their personalities are different.
Yeah.
And it's not just a male and female thing, but they're different because the location and the environment. One is coming from a more foresty region. One is coming from a more swampy region.
Right.
You know, this one prefers frogs more. This one likes snakes more. And so,
right.
And then when we get them, I get them and I breed them where I am in a whole nother country and start breeding them here in a different environment. They don't get frogs. They do get frogs and snakes, but they don't get frogs and snakes to the extent that they would in the wild, you know, and then I have to supplement things. I have to use birds and other rodents. And so again, like you said, that's changing the dynamics, and that's proven. And I'm going to say this, you know, this last thing before we wrap it up. Like, I think I might have talked about this with Joe, and it basically just goes back to what you were saying as well. And what I just said is, so in Colorado, they did this experiment with this strand of cannabis called jet fuel. And so what they did was they sent the seeds to 32 different growers in the same state, but different regions. And then they all grew it the way that they grow it, you know, all the whatever techniques. And then they all sent a clipping in. And then they took that clipping and they took a picture of it and they made a poster out of the clippings. Every single one of those look different.
Look like different numbers on a clock going around.
Yeah, similar than some look more similar in one ways and different in one ways and others. Like one was purple, you know, then most of them weren't, but they were all the same strand from the same mother plant. So they weren't from different jet fuel plants. They were all from the same, and they all created their own phenotype based off the environment and the diet.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
But now,
Ray,
Rob,
good talking to you. Yeah. Good talking to you. Thank you for having me on here. And it was good talking to you. Like I said, I think we kind of scratched the surface, but it could have gone a whole lot deeper into it for sure.
Oh yeah, no, we'll do some more, man. We got it. This is just a catalyst, bro. This made me think about something that I wasn't even thinking about. So, because Joe was like, "Nah, bro, we need more good dog channels, and you definitely gonna deliver." So if you do decide to do another channel, but no, bro, I appreciate it. Like this really got my gears thinking again. Like I knew it was gonna be good, of no doubt. You know, all my shit's good. I don't, you know me, bro. I don't bring anybody on. I can't, you know what I mean? I can't just talk to anybody. But no, I appreciate you coming on. Yeah. And you'll definitely see Ryan in the future. I was gonna say, if you're looking for press, well, if you are looking for presses, but I don't know when you'll see this video. So I wouldn't say if you're looking for presses sometime soon, but you'll probably see this video in the next like 2 weeks or so. So
well, yeah,
they might make it. They might make it, yeah. But yeah,
we're breeding tomorrow.
So yeah, in the event that I do put this out in that time, I will definitely link that in the I will tag you in there. So if anybody is wanting a real pressa experience or needs to improve their lines, you know what I mean, or you know they just not satisfied with whatever they got, you can come right over here. This is one of the people I would definitely recommend. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. That means a lot.
All right, Ryan. Hold on. Give me a second.